Part of each of us claiming our personal power and becoming the best, most like soul aligned versions of ourselves involves understanding our emotions. So I believe that our emotions serve as a compass. And in our particular American culture, I can't honestly speak to any other culture, but I imagine, you know, mostly in the West. I'm not sure about, again, I can't speak to what I don't know, but in America, in the culture that I have grown up in and existed in, we tend to really downplay the importance of emotional honesty, or like the relevance of emotional reaction. And you think about like children, okay? So from a very young age as children, we are told to stop crying. We are we are told over and over again that our emotions are not valid and that we need to stop whatever they are that's too much, whether it's throwing a temper tantrum or crying or getting upset, and it's not because we have crappy parents. It's because that's just the way we have done things for however long, you know, that of course we all know, yes, that men are expected even more than women to have a greater control over their emotional state. And so they tend to be even more locked down around emotions. And so, but that doesn't mean that we as women are not also locked down around our emotions, and our compasses get really wonky from even just like, maybe it's not because someone told us, it's because it's like it's not what we do. We don't cry in public, or we don't make a scene. As adults, we have to like hold ourselves in a certain way, and so it might not even seem like we are dishonoring our emotional compass, when in reality, every single time we tamp down our emotions, push them down, stop ourselves from crying and get our shit together, you know, go out and put on a brave face or whatever, every time we do that to ourselves, we may be tweaking that compass. So the more and more it gets confused. And, you know, there is certain amounts of, emotional processing that I do with clients. And in one of, as some of you may have already experienced, in one of the practices that I utilize, it's recognizing where there is wisdom in the emotion. Like, for example, fear is a really good one. There is wisdom in fear. The reason why we have fear is to keep us safe, right? The reason why we have fear is to keep us safe. So there may have been many times when we felt fear, but we're like, oh, we got to be brave or whatever. and you push it down, and then that fear meter doesn't work as good the next time. And then the next time it works, though, it's again like we're like, oh, we got to push it down. And so we just, and so I guess I didn't really plan out what I was going to say in this particular video. I kind of just wanted to bring to your attention the idea that emotional outbursts, feelings of emotion that, you know, for years we have probably not allow ourselves to express fully, not allow ourselves to feel fully. Maybe we are a person who, maybe we are a person, maybe you're a person who experiences a great deal of sadness and you're trying to get out of that sadness, but at the same time, you're almost denying that sadness. And so there's this kind of push and pull where you're not really fully going into the sadness because you feel it's not safe, because you could spin into a depression. Or maybe you're someone who gets really angry really easily. And so in that case, it's like the volume is turned up. And so your emotions almost feel unsafe for you because you spin into this rage that's really hard to control. So I would say for anyone who has those really extreme emotional experiences, there are almost certainly entities involved, and we are going to address that in our next live healing, which will be in this, which will then be put into this weekly coursework, our next group healing. So, and also some of you might have very specific needs around that, which I would also just recommend booking a one-on-one session with me. And again, I do recommend, if you are able, if you have insurance that covers it, if you can afford it, I recommend everybody get a therapist. I know that talk therapy is not necessarily the answer to everything. It doesn't solve everything, but it can be really helpful just to have somebody to share your experiences with and have them give you one person just giving you their full attention for 55 minutes or 50 minutes or whatever it is can be really helpful. And I have had therapists who were amazing healers. So not every therapist is an amazing healer, it's true, but that the ones that are not the amazing healers still serve a purpose and they can still help you, even if it just is a sounding board. Anyways. But yes, also booking sessions with me is a really good idea as well. So, and if none of those things are options for whatever reason, or you just aren't ready for that yet, I invite you to start paying attention to when you're blocking out your own emotional experience. I mean, it might even be joy that you're blocking out. Like, it could even be something silly like dancing, right? Like you see a bunch of people on the dance floor and they're having a good time and you're just like, I don't dance. But inside your body, you're like, yeah, I do. Like, I know that seems silly, but it's in all these like micro ways that we shut ourselves down that like culminate over time to be this like, right? That just it's not a broken compass, it's just wonky. You know, I remember I was getting ready to go on a date with this guy that I ended up being with for 2 years, and my body my body told me before my date, I got sick, I threw up, and I was like, I don't even know if I could go, I don't feel well," but I, like, powered through it, you know, I'm like, "No, I've got this date." And I, like, powered through it because I knew I didn't have, like, the flu or anything, I just my body was giving me a very big sign, and I ignored it, and he wasn't a terrible person, you know, but, I mean, obviously we broke up, so he also wasn't my soulmate, and my body, you know, wasn't into it. But I was very closed off to my body's signals and my emotional signals at that time. I was partying a lot and I wasn't connected to my compass. My compass was like definitely like very locked away. I was like, that doesn't, there's no compass. What? No, no. So, as we move through this program, we are going to be doing emotional processing. As we move through this program, we are going to be doing some like healing that is going to start shifting that compass to being a lot more accessible and being a lot more accurate. And so again, I invite you to just be aware and pay attention and feel into that. And again, take what resonates with you and leave the rest. You know, you might be listening to this and be like, oh, no, I'm pretty plugged into my emotions and they do a pretty good job. And that's great. But I know for a fact that not 100% of people watching this video are going to feel that way. Some of them are going to be like, you know what, Lana, you're right. I have been really emotionally shut down. And I can think of when that started. And that might actually be a journey of unraveling, you know, because if you can go back and pinpoint the moment that it happened and look at it, you go, okay, I know when that started. And it could have probably even started before then, but that was just a big turning point, you know? And then, so if that does happen, I invite you to go to that self, that version of yourself in that moment, and hold that version of yourself and find out what they need. Ask that version of yourself, what do you need? How can I support you? And that version of yourself will tell you something. Or if they don't, just maybe just hug them and tell them, I love you. I'm here for you now. I'm ready to listen to you. I'm ready to support you. I'm ready to use the compass wisely. You're doing a great job.